and welcome to Wednesday's episode of the Literary Lutheran Reads a Book of Concord. Today we're still going through Article 7, the Holy Supper, from the Solid Declaration of the Formula of Concord, and today we will begin with the negative statements. Negative statements. With heart and mouth we reject and condemn as false, erroneous, and misleading all errors that do not agree with, but contradict and oppose the doctrine mentioned above and founded on God's Word, such as these. 1. The papistic transubstantiation. It is taught that the consecrated or blessed bread and wine in the Holy Supper entirely lose their substance and essence. They are changed into the substance of Christ's body and blood in such a way that only the mere form of bread and wine is left, or the accidents without the object. The bread is no longer bread. According to their assertion, it has lost its natural essence. Christ's body is present under the form of the bread, even apart from the administration of the Holy Supper. For example, when the bread is enclosed in the pyx or is carried about for display and adoration. For nothing can be a sacrament without God's command and the appointed use for which it is instituted in God's Word, as was shown above. 2. We likewise reject and condemn all other papistic abuses of this sacrament, like the abomination of the sacrifice of the Mass for the living and dead. 3. Also contrary to Christ's public command and institution, only one form of the sacrament is administered to the laity. These papistic abuses have been thoroughly refuted by means of God's Word and the testimonies of the ancient Church in the Common Confession and the Apology of our churches, the small-called articles, and our theologians' other writings. However, in this document, we have tried to present only our confession and explanation about the true presence of Christ's body and blood, especially against the sacramentarians. Some of them shamelessly sneak into our churches under the name of the Augsburg Confession. Therefore, we will also state and list here, especially the sacramentarians' errors, in order to warn our hearers to guard against and look out for them. With heart and mouth, we reject and condemn as false, erroneous, and misleading all sacramentarian opinions and teachings. These do not agree with, but contradict and oppose the doctrine presented above, founded on God's Word. 1. They assert that the words of institution are not to be understood simply in their proper meaning as they read about the true essential presence of Christ's body and blood in the supper. Instead, they are to be twisted by turns of phrases or figurative interpretations to a new strange sense. We reject all such sacramentarian opinions and self-contradictory notions, some of which even conflict with one another, however many and various they may be. 2. The oral partaking of Christ's body and blood in the supper is denied by the sacramentarians. On the contrary, it is taught that Christ's body in the supper is partaken of only spiritually through faith. So in the supper our mouth receives only bread and wine. 3. It is taught that bread and wine in the supper should be regarded as nothing more than tokens by which Christians are to recognize one another. 4. For they are only figures, comparisons, and representations of Christ's far absent body. Just as bread and wine are the outward food of our body, so also Christ's absent body, with his merit, is our soul's spiritual food. 5. Or they are no more than tokens or memorials of Christ's absent body. By these signs, as an external pledge, we should be assured that faith turns from the supper and descends beyond all heavens. There above a person truly partakes of Christ's body and blood as he truly receives the outward signs with the mouth in the supper. So the assurance and confirmation of our faith happen in the supper only through the outward signs and not through Christ's true present body and blood offered to us. 6. Or in the supper, the power, effectiveness, and merit of Christ's far absent body are distributed only to those who have faith. We become partakers of his absent body. In this way just mentioned, the sacramental union is to be understood with respect to the analogy of the sign and what is signified. This means the bread and wine have a resemblance to Christ's body and blood. 7. Or Christ's body and blood can only be received and partaken of spiritually through faith. 8. It is taught that because of his ascension into heaven, Christ is enclosed and restricted by his body in a definite place in heaven. He cannot or will not be truly present with us in the supper, which is celebrated according to Christ's institution on earth. But he is as far and remote from it as heaven and earth are from each other. Some sacramentarians have willfully and wickedly falsified the text, Christ must occupy heaven, see Acts chapter 3, verse 21, for the confirmation of their error. Instead of this translation, they have rendered it, Christ must be received or be restricted and enclosed by heaven or in heaven, so that in his human nature he can or will in no way be with us on earth. This has been the Literary Lutheran Reads the Book of Concord, and I wish you a blessed day.